Welcome back everyone. Today I got something very special for you. We're going to be showing you exactly how to build out a client system, and you'll be doing it live with me. So in this video we're going to be focusing on the newsletter posting system. We're going to be building out interface. The interface basically for the client so they can put in their newsletter idea, pick a template if there is a particular one they prefer, generate using AI and automations. They can preview it quickly, and if they're happy with it, actually click post. We're going to be using Make.com. We're building out these sort of automations as well as a posting automation as well. And here's a little preview of actually what the email looks like that's going to be sent off to your subscribers. It's going to have the brand logo as well as all the content, and then a call to action. Visit our website button below as well. Let's go straight into it. So as you can see on screen here, these are the 3 automations that we need to be building out for my clients. So we have a newsletter posting system, an order fulfillment system, and a LinkedIn automation system. So with the newsletter posting system, currently, they used to have it, but it's not active at the moment due to it being too expensive to actually run. I believe they did used to outsource it, but at the moment they don't have a team that's actually running the newsletter. So we'll be building that out for them, for the business. Now, the order fulfillment system, this is one of the major pain points that they are facing, because currently at the moment it's a fully manual process, meaning that every single time they get a new order, they are manually filling it out on a spreadsheet, and then they're manually sending that spreadsheet off to the supplier to then go ahead and process that order and get it delivered to the customer. And lastly, the LinkedIn automation system. This system here is one that's going to actually help the business owner, because he has around just under 10,000 followers on LinkedIn and loves writing up posts and knowledge about his journey in business, not business insights and advice. But at the moment, he currently uses 5 different AI models to write his posts. And it just takes him way too long. I think it takes him around 2 hours to write a single post by copying and pasting each output into another AI model to make it even better. So we're going to be building a system so he doesn't have to worry about that, and it can write exactly like how he does. So let's go straight into building the newsletter posting system. Okay, cool. So as you can see on screen here, we have a little checklist of things we need to tick off as we're going to be building out this automation. But just a quick overview, we're going to be using Airtable as a centralized platform for the client to actually go to and create these newsletters. Then we're going to send that to an automation. It's going to generate the content and send it back to Airtable for them to actually check if it's good enough. If it is good, they can click a button to post it, and it's going to send it off to the subscribers of the newsletter. And here is the checklist. It's quite a big checklist actually of things we need to do, but I'm going to take you exactly through my process and how I actually go about building it. So with that being said, let's go straight into it. So first thing we need to do is set up Airtable. So let's set Airtable. Okay, so it seems Airtable is actually updated the website since I last used it, but click on the sign up for free button here if you haven't used it before. I'm just going to log in. Fantastic. So I'm in at the moment. Now just hit create at the bottom left corner. Click start from scratch. Oh, choose a workspace. Start from scratch. So first thing to do is highlight all of these columns and right click and delete them. We do not need them at the moment. Then we'll choose a name. So for this, we're going to choose newsletter system --YouTube, just right now. And we'll change the color to, I guess, blue. Yeah, blue, that looks good. Table 1, we'll rename this as well. We'll call this newsletter backend. And later on, we're going to actually be building out the front end as well. Cool. Firstly is add in a field. And we need to check what we need to do. So let's head back to the checklist. We need to add in key fields. So newsletter idea, template, status, newsletter file, and HTML or content. Let's do this. Head to long text, newsletter idea, and click create. Add a new tab. Next, add a new column. Newsletter templates. This is going to be a single select. Option 1. And option 2. So remove that space. Fantastic. Next is status, which is also going to be single select. And you'll see later on when I actually build the automation why we need to have the status in here. So for now, we're just going to have generating HTML, and we'll say ready for review. Also posted. We'll just add those 3 for now. Click create. Awesome. Next is newsletter file. Click the plus icon, look for attachment, newsletter file. Fantastic. Next is HTML raw content, which is going to be a long text. HTML raw content. In this one, we're going to turn on enable rich text formatting, just in case in the HTML we need to have rich text formatting. We can have that. So click create field. Fantastic. Now let me just move these around a little bit. Actually, that looks good. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Now that is done, so we can tick it off. Next is the webhook trigger. So we need to set up a custom webhook in make.com that will be called from an Airtable automation when the generate newsletter button is clicked. So we haven't actually done that yet. So let's head to here. Let's add in that button. Type in button. Here we'll choose the label to be generate. Let's make it all caps just so it's easy. And we'll pick blue. Fantastic. And the URL formula for now, we're just going to put quotation marks. Click create field. Fantastic. Okay, so it's grayed out at the moment because you don't have a URL in there yet. So we're going to drag it and put it in between the template and the status. Awesome. Next, let's head to make.com. So make.com. Now, if you haven't used make.com before, it's pretty much an automation builder. You can build out workflows and connect your favorite systems or systems that your own business uses in very intuitive space where you can very easily visualize how it's going to work. And that's why I use it. Click login or get started for free. Cool. Now in make.com. Now, when you get into make.com, yours is not going to look like this. You're not going to have this graph of all the operations you've used. The only thing for you to note is to click create new scenario in the top right corner, and we're in the workflow builder. What we need to do is set up a webhook. So a webhook is basically, type in webhook here and click custom webhook. Webhook is basically a specific URL that if you send data to, it's gonna basically store that data, but it can only store it once. So say you send over a number and the number's 5, it's gonna collect that number and hold it for one instance, because if you send out another number again, say it's 7, it's going to replace the number 5 with number 7. So for this, click add. We'll choose news. Oh, we already have it here. News system, YouTube, and click save. Now we have this unique URL. So click copy address to clipboard, and guess where we're going to paste this in Airtable. Go to open URL. Actually, we'll just change this name and click generate newsletter. Fantastic. And paste it inside these quotation marks. Paste it in there and click save. Cool. So now you can see it's not grayed out anymore. We can actually go back to make.com. We're waiting for this webhook. If you click generate or the button, it's going to say accepted. And in make.com, it's going to say successfully determined, which means it's connected. Next is we need to make sure. We need to make sure that it passes the record ID. How do we do this? Well, head back to Airtable. Now in Airtable, every single record has its unique ID. Now I'm just going to do this to show you, but if you go to formula, type in record ID, click, close the bracket, click create field. You can see each record here has a unique ID. If I keep adding fields, a new unique ID is going to be generated. I'm just going to delete these. Cool. We don't even need this. So what we need to do is send that unique ID in this webhook. How do we do this? Well, click edit field, and we need to edit our webhook a little bit. So we need to put in a question mark to indicate that that is the end of the URL. Then we need to type in record underscore ID equals and close bracket. So not close bracket and quotation mark, and delete one of them. Cool. This is now saying that here's the URL to send the webhook. And then we're going to be sending this variable record ID. And now we need to tell it what the value is. So the value is, put in the and sign and type in record ID. Close the bracket. And that is it. Click save. Now, if you head back to make.com, right click a webhook, choose run this module only. Click generate. It should say accepted. Fantastic. If you head back to make.com, you can see record ID has been successfully sent with the unique record ID being set there. Fantastic. Nice. We can head back to our checklist and tick it off. Boom. Cool. Now we can head to phase 2 of the research part. So we're going to do some research with Perplexity, and that's actually going to help the AI model later on, which is going to generate the newsletter with extra content and extra research to make it more valuable and back it up. So to do that, we're going to need a Perplexity account. So we head back to make.com, click the plus icon, and add in, look for Perplexity. Here we go, Perplexity AI. Click create chat completion. Fantastic. Now I already have an account. If you don't have an account, click add, and you need an API key. To get this, head to Perplexity, I believe it Perplexity API, and go to initial setup. In here, you'll see setting up a group, navigate to your API group section of your account page. Click this account page link. It's going to open up your Perplexity AI account, and you're going to see on the left-hand side API keys. If it doesn't allow you to create an API key, you might need to add some money, and generally you can just head to API billing and add in around $5. It all just depends on how much you use the platform. Once that's done, head back to API keys and click create key, and then copy that key and plop it in there, change the name, new connection, and click save. And that's going to connect make.com to your Perplexity API account. Cool. Then select that account. We're going to be choosing the model. For this, we're going to be choosing Sonar Pro. And this is because we don't want to have too much deep research, because deep research will take some time. It'll take literally, I think, 5 to 10 minutes to do the research. So Sonar Pro gives us good research in quite a short amount of time, which is great. Choose that. And for now, just click messages. Content, we'll just put 123 as a placeholder, and role is going to be system. Click save. Cool. Once that's done, we can actually head back to the checklist, look at it. We need to prompt it to act as a professional newsletter researcher for a sustainable financial company. Find 10 real recent articles and summarize the key points. So let's prompt it. So in the system section, let's type in here, you are a professional research, what did it say? Let's just check again. Close those. Professional newsletter researcher. Let's copy this thing actually. Pop it in there and just say researcher and for sustainable furniture company. Cool. So that's exactly who it is. Now what I like to do is have a system message. That's really good for just telling the model, who am I? And then afterwards we can have a user message, which you could be adding here, add item, choose the role, pick user. And here we're going to have our actual detailed prompt and tell exactly everything that we want it to do, its task, and any rules we have and things not to do as well. Oh, and I've just realized we haven't actually told Perplexity AI what the idea is yet. So for now, just click save, and just click save down here at the bottom one more time so the whole thing saves. Let's actually head back to Airtable. We need to send the newsletter idea as well as the template, which I'm going to drag over here. Template, these two variables, along with the record ID, so we can refer back to it later on. So click into generate newsletter, click edit field, and in here we put in a and symbol, quotation marks. Then in the quotation marks, we need to be adding another and symbol to say it's another variable that we're going to be sending through. Newsletter idea, and then an equal sign. And then after that, we put another and symbol and add in the actual value, which is newsletter idea. We can just reference that there. Cool. And then we should have added the newsletter idea. Now just so for time's sake, let's just do the next one as well. Just copy and paste it really. Put the and symbol there. Should be and news, not an idea, but template. Newsletter template. And this last variable here should be newsletter template. There we go. Click save. Let's double check it. Looks good. Save. Awesome. So now if we let's click save on this Perplexity AI module, right click this webhook, run this module only, head back to newsletter, template, click generate, accepted, fantastic. Okay, awesome. So all three have actually sent, there's just no values in the newsletter idea or the template. Let's fix it up. So the idea, let's pick something, benefits of marble. So going along with the furniture idea, marble tables in 2025. That's a good idea. And the template, let's drag it out. Template, we'll pick option 1. We don't have any options just yet, but let's pick that as the first option. And let's drag this here, put the newsletter file, actually no, let's drag it there. There we go. So if the newsletter idea template, we click generate, we get the status, and then we get the file, which is going to output a preview of what the newsletter is going to look like for us to review. So let's run it again. Run this module only, click generate, accepted, fantastic, awesome. There we go. So you have record ID, newsletter idea, and newsletter template, which is option 1. Awesome. Now that we have that, we can go back into Perplexity. Scroll down. Here is the newsletter idea. And we're just gonna put in brackets, newsletter idea. Actually, we're doing a new line. There we go. And put in brackets just so it knows everything contained inside the brackets is the idea. Please refer to this idea when conducting your research. Let's have a rules section. Rules. Do not make up any information. What else? Do not fake metrics in your research. And lastly, output only the 10 articles. Let's tell it again. Specifically mention only those 10 articles. Oh, and sometimes Perplexity will have the source numbers, so we'll say do not include source numbers e.g. Oops, that's not right. There we go. And we'll say etc. So knows exactly. Do not output this kind of stuff. Awesome. Now we can click save. Just double check. Oh, actually, before we do that, type in temperature and put in 0.7, just so it adheres to the instructions a bit more closely, but doesn't limit how creative it can be. Cool. Let's click save. Fantastic. Now head back to the checklist and we can tick that off. Awesome. Next thing to do is actually the HTML generation. So we're going to take the research output from Perplexity and feed it into OpenAI. Now before we do this, let's go ahead and actually run this automation. Click save first. So let's click run once, click into Airtable, click generate. Should say accepted. Awesome. So we've sent over the newsletter idea as well as the template. For now, the template doesn't really matter. And that's only if we had multiple branches. But for this video, I'm going to be showing you the one branch. And it's very easy. You can just add a router and then tailor it differently. Cool. So in that time he's explaining it, we sent over the data and Perplexity has done some research. Let's see the output. Cool. So why marble dining tables are the ultimate trend in 2025? Benefits of custom marble furniture in 2025. Marble trends in architecture and so on and so forth. Nice. So it's outputted the 10 articles, which is great, and given us the key points, which is very valuable for writing up our article. Once this is done, let's add a new module. Here we're going to choose Chat OpenAI, and we're going to choose create a completion prompt, the second one. And my API key is wrong. So, oh, it's because I actually deleted it. Let's change to my actual connection. If you don't have an OpenAI account, click add. And here we're going to need an API key as well as an organization ID. To find this, open a new tab, openai.com. Now in here, go to the left, OpenAI platform, click start building. Awesome. Now you won't be logged in, and if you have logged in, then great, but otherwise it should be in the top right hand side. It should say login. So please log in or sign up. Then there's little sayings icon, click that. Straight away you'll get to general and you'll see organization ID. But then on the left hand side, API keys, and you can create a new secret key, put in a name, test, and click create secret key. Now I already have mine connected, so I'm not going to do that. But you just create it, copy it, and then go back to make.com and paste in this value as well as this value as well. Pick a name and then click save, just so you can remember it like I have done here. Cool. Now if you can't make an API key, you might need to add some credits to it. So I generally add $10 because I use OpenAI more than Perplexity. And I find that depending on the model, it can last me a very long time. I remember putting $5 in and it lasted me 6 months because I was using 4.1 mini, which is very powerful, but very cheap as well, which is fantastic. Now we have OpenAI connected. Let's choose our model. For this, we're going to be choosing, let me just go back, 4.0, but I actually think that we can choose a more smarter model. Let's pick, I'm going to say 4.1. 4.1, I've been using it quite a bit, and it's my new favorite model because it has a massive context window. 1 million tokens, as well as being really powerful as well. So we're going to use 4.1. Now for messages, click add message. Same sort of thing as we did in Perplexity. First message we're going to be using is system or developer. So we're going to be telling it what exactly its role is. So here needs to be, let me just check. Professional user writer. Cool. Okay. So a professional newsletter writer that excels at writing newsletters in HTML. Cool. So now let's add a new message. Choose a role, user, and text content. What I'm going to do is write up the prompt, and I'll meet you guys back when I've written it up, and I'll go through and explain how I wrote it and why I wrote it in that specific way. Just give me a second. Okay, cool. So I've just written up the prompt. I said, look, your task is to write the HTML for a comprehensive newsletter. So comprehensive because generally when you write the word comprehensive, it tends to write a little bit better. You specifically need to have a subheading which discusses the key points of the 10 articles, and then underneath you should have a 2 to 3 short sentence paragraph discussing the subheading with the relevant information there. Let's give a quick example so it understands exactly how to write it. Then told it, here are the inputs. So I gave it an idea. Also the research, I put it in brackets just so it knows everything inside those brackets is considered research. Also gave it the date. Now to do this, the date section, you just go into here, look for the little calendar icon, pick format date. In the first gap, you put in now, which would be the time right now, the date right now, and then the format you want it. And you can see here's the format. So if you want like just the date, you'd put in month, day, and then the year. In my instance, I wanted day, month, and then year to swap it around. So I did it like that. Cool. Once that's done, I then said formatting. So in terms of formatting on how it should be outputted onto the document or into the newsletter, it's simple and clear. So you have an idea on how to display the HTML. Add a colon there. So the title, subheading 1.1, subheading 2, so on and so forth, all the way down to number 10, and the closing message as well. It's told us some rules: do not change any URLs and do not make up any information. Nice. One other thing I'm going to add is go to advanced settings at the bottom here, scroll down and change the temperature to 0.8. Because I want to be quite creative with the subheading and the points and the way it writes it, but I don't want it to be too creative. So I'm going to make it 0.8. So it listens to the instructions a little bit more, but is still creative as well. Click save. Awesome. There we go. Save one more time. Cool. Let's actually name this as well. So newsletter automation system. Let's put system here. So you know it's system, and then YouTube. Fantastic. Click save. Nice. Now that's done. So back to the checklist, and we can tick it off. Cool. So phase 2 is actually done. Before we hit to phase 3, let's add in the features so we know what status it is at. So if you head back to make.com, right before this ChatGPT module, let's drag it out. Where the gap is here, right click it and choose add a router. Cool. Now we hit the plus icon in the middle and we can add a second module. Here we're going to choose Airtable. Airtable, and we're going to use update a record. And now you're going to understand why we sent over the initial record ID is so that we can do this and have these updates throughout the automation. So if you choose newsletter system, YouTube, I think that's what it's called. Yep, that is. Pick the table, newsletter backend, and we reference the record ID. We're able to then scroll down and go to the status section, turn off the mapping so we can see what options there are, and choose generating HTML. Click save. And actually, before we do that, let's right click the router, change all the routes, and make the update record Airtable first. Click apply. And we do this because then we allow the Airtable record to update the database, so we know what's going to be running the HTML, and then OpenAI can go ahead and generate the HTML for us. Cool. Just drag it over here and drag this over here. Next is the phase 3. So let's just see. What I'm actually going to do is, rather than using a second OpenAI module, I'm just going to use the HTML that we already generated. So before we do that, let's actually run this whole module so we can see exactly what's happening. So let's click run once and click generate. Cool. So Airtable has ran. It's been updated. So generated HTML has successfully been updated. And we're just waiting for the OpenAI module to generate the HTML. Now, it might take a little while because it's using the idea as well as the research to generate the HTML, and it's done. Awesome. So let's see the output. If we head to result, Okay, cool. So yeah, it's done. It's right. It's given us the title. It's given us the first point and then created a couple sentences. Second point, a couple sentences. Third point, sentences, and so on and so on and so on. Although, wait, hang on. One thing I do realize is right at the end of the HTML, we have these little backticks. And I think at the start it should be there as well. Yeah, this we need to remove. So to do that, let's actually add in a text parser and look for replace. Cool. So now that we're in the replace module, pattern we need is these backticks here by the HTML section. So choose pattern and paste it. Now I just copied it from before. And oops, the new value we need to add in is if we head to the open brackets, not open brackets, so the column section here, the arrays, and pick empty array. Cool. And the text that needs to do it too is in result. And everything else should be the same. Yep, that's fine. Now I'm just getting this little yellow error because it's just saying a transformer should not be the last module in the root, but that's fine. We can just ignore that for now. Let's actually go ahead and save this and click save anyway and run this. So click run anyway, generate, and we'll just remove this status section here so we can see it change, update. I'm just going to let this run. Just click this auto line. It's going to auto line it. Nice. Cool. So it's gone ahead and updated it, and there we go. Updated automatically. Waiting for this HTML to generate. Taking its sweet time. And done. Awesome. So it's actually generated the HTML. You can see it still has this little backticks in HTML. Should have removed it. So fantastic. Great. So those string of characters are at the start are no longer there. It just starts straight away with doc type HTML, which is what we need to start the HTML. But if I'm correct, the bottom part should still have, yep, these backticks here. So let's just clone this module, put it right at the end again, and remove the HTML part so that now it will look for this pattern and do the same thing, replace it with the empty array. And the text we need to change to the most recent text. Click save. We know this will run because, well, it ran really well here. So let's just move on to the next step. We need to create a Google Doc from a template. Now to do this, we actually need to change the HTML to text. And Make.com already has something very beautifully for us to do that. So back to text parser, and there is a HTML to text module. Click this, and HTML we need to change is going to be, let me just move this here so you can see from before. If you hover over this, you can actually see it's indicating which ones it's referring to. So we need to choose number 8, or number 8 here, and you can see number 8 here. So just choose this one, click save, fantastic, cool. Now it's going to output all that HTML as text. We're then going to create another module, choose Google Doc. Great. We need to create a document. Yeah, because we can use HTML. All right. And content, hang on, supports HTML format. Let's actually choose the previous module just to test if that will work. I'm just quite curious. And the name was going to put in newsletter HTML test, so you can see. Location, we'll choose my drive and then just pick client test. There we go. Click save. And let's go ahead and actually run this whole module. So click save first, auto align it, and run once, and click generate. Actually, in the meantime, while this is running, let's head to Google Drive so we can just see where it's going to output it. Cool. So I'm just saying client test, and oh, it's actually already ran and outputted it here. So let's open this. Okay, so it isn't perfect, but as you can see, it's actually gone ahead and yeah, used the HTML and plopped it right into the document, which is fantastic. So we don't even need this HTML to text part module. We could delete that, make it even shorter and more efficient. Fantastic. So now that we have this create document, let's add in Google Docs, and let's actually, there should be a download document. Oh, here we go. Download the document. Choose that one. We are going to, in Drive, we're going to map the document ID directly. So we're going to choose this document ID so it knows exactly which document we're referring to, and Word document's fine. Cool. Now to actually send it off to Airtable, we need to do something a little funny, and that's going to be getting a Google Drive module, and we are going to upload a file. And for some reason, I don't know why Make.com does this, but you can't get a share link for a document that you've just downloaded. You have to do it through Google Drive, and it's really weird, but yeah. Anyways, The folder we need to select from list. We're going to pick client test. And in client test, I've just created another folder called review newsletters, and I'm going to choose that. Click save. Why did this still have errors? There we go. And after that, add another Google Drive, and I believe it's get a share link. Yes. And we can reference the file ID here. It's a really weird system. I don't know why Mac.com does this, where you have to create a document, download that document, then upload it to a new folder basically, and then get the share link of the document that you just uploaded to a folder. It's really weird. But settings here, we need file ID, map it. So turn this little toggle on. Role is going to be reader, type is anyone, and this is going to allow us to basically get the link without having to put in an email address that we want to share it to. So click anyone and click save. Cool. Save one more time. Let's auto align everything. The last thing to do now is add in our Airtable module, which if we update a record, choose the base, choose our table, and our record ID, we can scroll right to the bottom. Record ID, we need to add in status. Actually, we need to change to ready for review, and newsletter file, we need to add the URL, which is, I believe, web content link. Yeah. And file name should be the one, where is it? Yeah, from download document, choose that. The last thing to do is actually send over the HTML that we initially created. Actually, the one that we modified. So this most recent one, which is number 8, slashing. That's the one we need to reference. Once that's done, we can hit save, and let's test this out. So click run once, go back to Airtable, remove this, and let's click generate. Cool, so we've just updated Airtable. We should have got, yep, generating HTML. Okay, it's created the HTML, replaced those two weird backtick and HTML sections, created a document, downloaded it, uploaded it, and got a share link, and then updated the record in Airtable. So you can see here, we've got ready for review, the status, we got the file from our Google Drive, basically. We click into it, we actually preview it right in Airtable, which is great. And we have 2 pages here. Awesome. And lastly, we have the HTML raw content, which you need because we're going to be sending off this HTML to our platforms that you can send off our emails. So everything's working, which is fantastic. Let's click save. Editing actually here. I just realized we're testing the system a few more times that when sending the HTML content from Make.com to Airtable, oftentimes when it sends it, the formatting is actually incorrect and doesn't save or remember the formatting from directly referencing it in the last Airtable module. So we initially referenced it from this text parser here. It was this text right here. To fix it, what I did was I just added a set variable module. So just add a new module, type in variable, go to tools, and then scroll down, set variable. Here we go. In here, just choose a name. I'm going to do clean HTML. And the variable value is just going to be the most recent text pass that we just added, and click save. And then just at the end, reference that variable rather than the text parser. I don't know why it does this. For some reason, when you just reference the HTML content that was from the text parser, it doesn't like to keep the formatting. But to fix it, just create a set variable module and basically reference the variable. And that way, all the formatting stays the same, and you'll be able to create as well as post a fully professional looking newsletter. Anyways, back to the video. And now let's build the second automation. So if we head back out, click create a new scenario, and straight away we're going to name this one newsletter automation. There we go. Cool. Same sort of thing. We're going to trigger it using a webhook. To do that, we need a button. URL form is going to be quotation marks. And in this one, we're going to choose it to be posted. I'm going to make it green. Make it a little bit smaller and post. Let's have a post question mark. Awesome. Cool. Now HTML raw content, we actually hide this because you don't need to be viewing it all the time. Let's head back to make.com. Type in webhook, custom webhook again, add a new webhook. This one we're going to call it posting webhook. Newsletter system, YouTube. Cool. Click save. Same sort of thing. Copy this address. Head back to post, edit field, put it in the URL formula. Click save. Now it's click posted. See if it triggers. Fantastic. Okay, awesome. So our webhook has been successfully determined. Now we need to actually get the information from Airtable, specifically the HTML raw content that we just hid beforehand. So let's add a new module. Let's type in Airtable, get a record, choose a base, which is the newsletter system, backend, record ID, which, oh, we haven't even referenced it. So we need to do that quickly. So rather than doing it manually, let's just go into generate newsletter and copy everything except for the URL. Go back into here and paste that in. Fantastic. We don't need the newsletter template, so we can delete that. The only thing we do need is the newsletter HTML. So we're just going to change it to HTML and look for HTML raw content. Click save. Awesome. Now we can run this again. Click posted. It's going to say accepted. And awesome. So it's got the record ID as well as HTML. Although that being said, it hasn't actually sent it all through. So let's remove that one part. Let's take out, I think, the HTML because I think it's a bit too long. So just record ID. And then we can use the Airtable get a record to get the HTML. Click save. Run once. Click post again. Fantastic. Now we have all the information. We have all the HTML, which is, yeah, that's a lot better. Next, what we need to do is actually go ahead and connect up to the email marketing platform that we're going to be using to send out our newsletters. So some of the popular ones are MailChimp, but there are a ton of other platforms such as MailerLite or even ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, so on and so forth. The one that we're going to be using is MailerJet, and that's because we can use the API without, at the stage, paying for a very expensive plan. So let's head into login or click get started if you haven't already. Oh, and we also need to go to the MailJet API because we need their documentation. What we need to do is look for sending emails. Awesome. Okay. Now, if you aren't familiar with documentation and APIs, it can get quite confusing, but I'm going to explain it very simply. It basically allows you to get access to specific features of your account through Make.com. And we do that through an API. An API basically gives you the authentication and tells the platform that this is the right person and they have access to this account because it is their account, or this is the company's account, for example. So, back to Make.com. We need to make a request to MailJet, and the request we need to make is the send API, I believe. Let me just check. No, this is going to be sending out one-off emails. We need to send multiple. So send campaigns. Send the campaign. Here we go. Okay, cool. So we actually want to send the campaign right away. So we need to look for the, this documentation here. Now this might look confusing. You might be like, what the hell is this? This doesn't make any sense at all. When I first was starting with APIs, I thought the exact same way. Now it is a lot more easier now that I've got used to it, so I'm going to explain it to you very simply. Basically, we want to send the HTML content to MailJet to post on our behalf from the Airtable platform. To do that, we need to send a post request, and post is basically saying to send out information, to post it. Now on the other side, if you wanted to receive information, you'd be using a GET request. To do this in Make.com, click the Add button here at the bottom corner, or on the side here, add another module. Look for HTTP, and we need to get make an API key authorization request. This one here. Choose that. Now this does look quite confusing, but just follow what I'm doing, and you'll see how to set it up. As I mentioned, we need to choose it to be post because we wouldn't be sending the information off. If you want to receive information, we choose get. This instance, let's choose post. The URL. If you head back to the documentation here, you can see this URL right here. So we just copy this entire URL without the slash, copy it, head back to Make.com, and in Make.com, just paste in the URL right there. Now for credentials, let's just pick credentials. Let's choose test credentials, but otherwise you can always add credentials. Oh, okay. Generally, if you're using an API key, they're going to give you a value, which is here. So this is the API key section here, API key public, API key private. Now, generally, they'll give you a parameter name, like x-API key. In our situation, they haven't. So we're not going to be using these credentials here. What I want to do instead then is, if you are setting this up for the first time, choose HTTP and just click make a basic authorization request and then add credentials, and literally just put in whatever you want for the username and the name and the username and password, doesn't really matter. We don't need the credentials. That's what I'm basically saying. Once you've done that, click save. Head back into this make API key authorization request and pick them. Pick the one that you just created. Cool. So now what we need to do is send over the API key public as well as the API key private. So it actually knows that we have authorization to actually have access to Mailjet. To do this, let's go into HTTP again. We need to open up the headers, and basically the headers are like the top line of the data that we're going to be sending to say we have authorization. So we need to put in the words. Well, firstly, let's put in content type here. So content type, copy that, paste it in. Application JSON, copy that, paste that in. Set to Mailjet. We are going to log in. Cool, so I'm just in Mailjet right now. Let's head to API on the left-hand side. Look for API key management. Awesome, so we have a primary API key here. We have the API key and we also have the secret key. And then editing actually over here. I just realized while editing this video that we forgot to add in the Mailjet create a draft campaign module. Now to do this, at the bottom of the screen, there's going to be an add button. Click Mailjet or type Mailjet. And here, scroll down to find create a draft campaign. Click that and drag it in before the Airtable, get a record, and the HTTP request that you want to make. For now, I'm just going to delete it because I already have it here. But in here, you're going to need to create a connection. To do this, click add and enter in the API key as well as the secret key as well, and then change the connection name. And the API key and secret key is the exact same key that we used to create the base64 and that were encoded in the HTTP request module. For the sender's email, just put in your email or whatever email that you want to be actually sending out your email content with. Sender's name, this isn't too important, but it's just generally the name that's going to be on the signature of the email. So just generally put your name or a business name as well. That's good to do. Reply email, leave this blank. Now contacts list ID. This is basically where you're going to be able to connect and pick which contacts you want to send this email off to each time. So head to Mailjet. And within Mailjet, I've just created a first, and in Mailjet, head to the left and look at contacts and choose contact lists. Here you can see I just have a little test group, but basically create a contact list, give your contact list a name, put 123 for now. This source, generally it's easiest just to upload a CSV file because it has all the emails in, or you can insert it manually. So let's click continue and then upload all your emails, or just upload that file in there as well. And what that's going to do is going to create a contact list. So then when you head back to make.com, you can click on this drop down menu here and you'll be able to see all the different contact lists that you have. And this works because we have that connection to Mailjet that we initially set up at the start of this module. For the title, this is going to be newsletter dash the idea. So it's very sharp and clear to understand what this newsletter is basically. The subject, I've just put something that's quite intriguing. Just put something that you want people to click on and sort of just outline what the email newsletter is about. The last and most important thing is the message content types. Now this needs to be HTML, and in the HTML body section, click into here, and from the previous module, get a record. You should have HTML raw content. Then just click that and click save, and everything else should be the same. The last thing to do is just to update the HTTP request here. And in this request, you'll notice I've added in campaign ID. On yours, and if you haven't changed it just yet, it should say $draft_ID or $draft ID, I believe. Delete the $draft ID, and then let's go if there is one, and replace it with campaign ID, and you should get it here on the left-hand side, campaign ID. What this is going to do is basically the system's going to be able to create a draft campaign, and then the next module is going to be able to send that specific campaign off to your subscribers. That's all this does. Anyways, back to the video. Cool, so now the last thing that we need to set up is the authorization. Now, if you head back to Mailjet, you'll see the API key public and API key private. And basically, we're telling Mailjet, and we need to send this through to say, here is our exact account that is going to allow us to firstly find this campaign, but then also send and give authorization to actually send that campaign on our behalf from being outside of our Mailjet account. So we need to put in our API key public and a colon and then our API key private. Now to do this, we actually have to format it in a little bit. So we can't just add a new item here and put in the values. what we need to do is turn it into a base 64 and encode it. Now, this might be a little confusing, but just follow exactly what I'm doing if you are following me. So earlier we did save our public and private key. To do that, just copy the public, paste that in here, put in the colon, and copy our secret as well, and paste that in there. Cool. Now we just scroll down and click encode. Awesome, it's just done, and it's going to give us a string of characters here. Just click copy to clipboard, and now head back into make.com. In the name section here, type in authorization station with a Z, because that's how it likes it. The value section, type in basic, and very importantly, just press space once after basic and paste it in. Earlier, I clicked enter to put on a new line, and it messed up the entire API request. So now click save. Awesome. So what we can do now is we'll save this, and just quickly we'll just add in the last Airtable module. So if you head to Airtable, update a record, base, our table is the backend. Record ID, we scroll down, find our record ID, fantastic. And the status section, unmap it and choose posted. So now we know the newsletter has been posted. Cool, and click save. Fantastic. Save this one more time and turn on this automation. Let's head back here, click save changes. Just gonna ignore this for now. Delete all data. Cool, so now this automation here is actually listening and waiting for us to basically go to our platform and click post. So if we head back to Airtable and we click post or posted, let's actually change it to post. It doesn't really make sense. Posted, post. There we go. It's been accepted. If we head to make.com, you can see it's actually successfully ran already and updated us in Airtable that the newsletter has been posted, which is fantastic. So let's just check in here. Let me just double check. Campaign ID. Great, that's gone through. And let's just check if this authorization request was successful. 201 means it's successful. Fantastic. And if we can double check in MailJet, we just refresh the campaigns here, you'll see that, awesome. So there's our newsletter and we've actually gone ahead and sent it off. Fantastic. Nice. Now, the last thing we need to do is actually set up an interface, and this is going to be used for the client to actually view this system basically, because at the moment, yeah, they could use this Excel looking database system, but it's not very pretty or well presented. So we can do it very easily by adding an interface. So in Airtable, click on the top here, interfaces, click build it yourself, build an interface. We're going to be choosing a logo. We're going to choose the email icon, fitting for the email system, newsletter, front end. So we actually know it's the front end. And we are going to want a list, I believe. Let me just check. Yes, a list. All right, awesome. And just select newsletter backend. It should automatically do it. Okay, cool. We're in the interface. Now I'm just going to move my camera to the top. If we actually click into the section here where we have all our records and go to the right hand side, you'll see edit records inline, turn that on, which means now we can actually edit each of these records. We can choose the different options. We can turn on add and delete records, which means you can add a new record, and also click onto record details and turn that on as well. And this basically is just going to give us an overview of the record detail if they need that. Cool. Now we can hit publish. Publish. Fantastic. So now, oh, hang on, this new name section not looking so good. Let me just fix this up 1 second. So with name, let's do this. Let's add a new column. Let's go to order number. Click create field. It's going to just basically number each entry. In the name section here, let's click the little drop down, edit field. Let's look for formula. Now this is optional and it's mainly just for the clients so they know exactly what newsletter they're basically working on. So concatenates, type in the word concatenates. Cool. And we want quotation marks, newsletter, then put a comma in, open the quotation marks again, space, put a dash. This is generally how I like to do it. Then comma one more time and put in ID 2. Oh, actually I might already have a column, so it should just be ID. Click save. Oh, forgot to close the bracket. There we go. confirm change. That's fine because we already created the interface. Fantastic. So now, and we just choose edit this one more time and put newsletter ID as the name of that column. Awesome. So now it's a lot more neater. Now if we head back to interfaces, we can see it's going to be looking like this. So we have the newsletter ID, which for some reason is jumbled around the place, but yeah, that is a bit odd. If we just sort it by newsletter ID and choose, there we go, alphabetical, we can basically, oh, we don't have access to the other buttons for some reason. Let's just go fix it up. So edit pages. In here, let's add in column, and we need to have newsletter file, as well as the post status, as well as the post button. Fantastic. And we're just going to drag this newsletter ID to make it smaller. We don't need it to be that big. Click publish so we can update it. And there we go. So it's a lot more better now. I'm just going to make the newsletter ID a little bit bigger. Template a little bit smaller. The button, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Newsletter file is fine. And the post button, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Now the idea, I'm going to drag it out a little bit. There we go. And the status will make it a bit smaller as well. Awesome. And just like that, we've created a very intuitive interface for the client to actually go in and edit it. So say they wanted to create a new newsletter, they'll click here. They'll be writing up the newsletter idea, which would be benefits of, I don't know why I keep saying benefits, how to take care of soft couches. I don't know. Something quite simple, but related to furniture. They can pick our template, so we'll say option 2 and hit generate. It's going to give us a file. It's going to tell us what status it is at, and then we can actually post it. So yeah, this version of the newsletter system is, yes, quite rudimentary. It is very basic at the moment. So what I'm going to go do is make it quite, flesh it out a little bit and get it a lot more detailed and a lot more better. Add in some more options, as well as add in more options for the statuses so the client knows exactly what stage each of these automations are at, as well as include error handling. So if something does go wrong, say we weren't able to send the email campaign out, or we weren't able to generate the HTML because we ran out of API tokens on Perplexity or OpenAI, it will be able to tell us here in the status section there was an error. The reason was because we ran out of tokens, for example. So I'll meet you guys when I actually finish out the system.
A few moments later.
Okay guys, so I've been working on the system for quite some time. Basically what I've done, just to get you up to speed, is I've added a few more options. So if you head to the newsletter automation, you can see that there are, well, the automation looks a lot more bigger now, but all I've done is basically duplicated each of these rows. So this is we initially had the top row here. I've just duplicated it and tailored each of the inputs so that we get a different template basically to create the newsletter. Now, I've also added in more things for the status. So we've added researching as well as a bunch of other error statuses. So this is basically error handling. So as you can see here, here's a good example. This module here has a solid line going into it. And this means basically it's a null module. But here you can see it's another Airtable module, but it has a hollowed out circle line going to it. This is basically an error handling, or if there's an error, if I right click here, you can see add error handler. If there's an error to take place within this Perplexity module, it's going to run this Airtable module rather than continue onwards to the router. So what I've done here is every single time an error can occur, I have updated it in the statuses section here. So we have error researching the content, which is for Perplexity. We have error creating the HTML code, as well as errors in case there's a problem with, I believe, sharing the documents. So we can't actually view it here in the newsletter file. And I've also gone ahead and tailored the newsletter file a little bit to the brand's colors, as well as add the brand's name and the logo as well. So this is basically what the newsletter is going to be looking like. And you can see it's got the logo here of the brand. It's got their own colors, the brand colors basically. And if you actually go ahead and post this, so it's actually going to send it out to the subscribers. I've just used my own email as a test subscriber email. And I believe this is going to be already run. Should have ran already. I believe this is it here. Oh, you can also see I've also added error handling as well. This is just just in case something goes wrong. We will be able to see where exactly went wrong. So error creating Mailjet draft, as well as error posting it on Mailjet. And if you head to my email here, you'll see most recent email. this is the email we're going to be sending out to your subscribers. So we have a nice brown border, clear brand logo, and then we have our newsletter ID here, as well as all the points and all the research that we obtained through Perplexity in our brand colors, basically. Then right at the bottom, we have a little button to say, check out our website. And if we click this, it's going to open up I believe a new link to their website. So yeah, that's basically the system. I hope you guys enjoyed. Basically wanted to show you guys how I actually go about breaking down the problem that a client is facing and how I actually go about building it out for the client I'm working with. And we still have 2 other systems to build out, the order fulfillment system and the automation system, which will be coming up in upcoming videos. So if you don't want to miss them, make sure you hit subscribe. Apart from that, I'll see you then. Goodbye.